Can you believe it? What was supposed to be a simple funeral for an old mother turned out to be the start of something far more sinister. The movie opens with a funeral. The mother of our main character, let's just call her Annie, has passed away. The ceremony is grand, with many people attending from the neighborhood. Even 4 retired gentlemen from a local choir showed up, all looking like they'd stepped right out of a history museum. Strangely, many faces at the funeral were unfamiliar to Annie. She didn't recognize most of the guests. She even joked, "Who are all these people? Where did you come from? Planning to follow my mom to the afterlife?" Annie lived in a countryside house with her husband named Steve, her teenage son, let's call him Peter, and her daughter Charlie. Her husband, a quiet man, rarely spoke but was very thoughtful. Peter was going through his teenage years, moody and rebellious. Charlie had learning difficulties and often acted oddly, always tinkering with strange crafts or toys. Oddly enough, Charlie was Grandma's favorite. She cherished her like fragile glass, afraid to even breathe on her. So, with Grandma gone, Charlie felt as if the world had lost all its color. As Annie went through her mother's belongings, she found a mysterious book about summoning spirits, tens of thousands of words filled with rituals and beliefs. The deeper she read, the more chilled she felt. Then something terrifying happened. As she was about to leave the room, she saw a shadow of her mother smiling at her from a dark corner. It scared her so much she nearly fainted. Annie was an artist who crafted miniature sculptures. Though each piece took ages to finish, they were valuable enough to live on. The next day, her husband got a call from the cemetery. Someone had tampered with his mother-in-law's grave, and the body was missing. He was so shaken he decided not to tell his wife, yet. That night, Annie attended a grief support group where everyone shared their stories. She said, "I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything, my whole family has a history of mental issues. My dad died of starvation when I was little. My brother had severe mental illness and took his own life as a teenager. Before he passed, he left a note blaming everything on our mom. As for me, I sleepwalk like a ghost every night. And my mom had identity disorder and eventually developed dementia. We're a miracle of survival, really." One night, Peter took Charlie to a party. He left her unattended and she ate cake with nuts, not realizing she had a severe allergy. On the way to the hospital, she had a serious reaction. In a panic, Peter sped down the road, but a sudden accident caused a tragic event that took her life instantly. Shocked and numb, Peter didn't tell anyone. He just went straight home and collapsed in bed. The next morning, Annie found out with a scream that echoed through the house. Charlie's passing devastated the family. Peter, in particular, was consumed by guilt. Oddly enough, after the accident, the nut allergy symptoms seemed to transfer to him. Now dealing with 2 family tragedies, Annie was deeply depressed. She tried to attend another grief group but lost her nerve at the door. Just as she was leaving, a kind woman named Ellen stopped her. Ellen said, "Hey, don't be scared. Life is full of hardships. I lost my son and grandson recently too. But we have to keep going. We can't drown in grief forever." Her words comforted Annie, who then received Ellen's number for a future chat. Later, Annie visited Ellen's home. At the door, she noticed a handmade doormat that reminded her of her mother. It was the kind of craft Grandma used to make. A few days later, they ran into each other again outside a supermarket. Ellen excitedly told her about a spiritual expert she met. "This woman can connect with the beyond. She summoned my grandson's spirit. You have to believe, it's science in its own way." To prove it, Ellen performed a spirit calling ritual for Annie right there. It left her shaken. Ellen handed her a paper and said, "Read this before you try it at home. You have to believe, it's the only way." Though skeptical, Annie eventually gave it a try. She gathered her husband and son and attempted to summon Charlie's spirit. To her surprise, something actually came, and even took over Annie's body, terrifying her family. After that, strange things kept happening. Charlie's presence lingered in the house. Peter was haunted, unable to sleep, and one night was nearly harmed in a bizarre incident involving Annie. Trying to fix things, Annie decided to burn Charlie's diary, thinking it might contain the spirit. But when she threw it into the fireplace, her own arm caught fire. Weirdly, when she pulled the diary out, the flames stopped immediately. The next day, Annie went to Ellen's place but found no one home. What she did find was more disturbing: Charlie's toys and a photo of Peter laid out on the table. Outside, that familiar handmade doormat brought a sudden realization. She turned around, and across the street, there was Ellen, chanting strange words in Peter's direction, trying to drive out his soul. Back home, Annie searched through her mother's belongings and found materials about ancient rituals and occult symbols. One particular name stood out: Paimon. She looked it up and discovered Paimon was one of the 72 spirits from ancient mythologies, associated with hidden knowledge and secret arts. Apparently, he preferred male hosts. Digging further, Annie found an old photo album. And it was a picture of Ellen and her mom together. It turned out they were both members of the same mysterious cult that worshipped Paimon. Their goal? To bring their leader into the physical world, by any means necessary. One night, Annie, seemingly in a trance, climbed up to the dusty attic. There, she found her mother's body, headless, hiding in the shadows. Meanwhile, at school, Peter suddenly had a breakdown in class, scaring everyone. Annie finally pieced it all together. That night when they summoned Charlie, it wasn't her that came, it was Paimon. The text Ellen gave her wasn't a ritual, it was a dark contract. Looking at the strange drawings in Charlie's diary, Annie realized the spirit had first possessed her daughter. But Paimon wanted a male host, so he needed to transfer to her son. To save him, the diary needed to be destroyed. Annie begged her husband to help, but he refused. In a panic, she threw the diary into the fire herself. But instead of the spirit leaving, it passed into her. Under Paimon's control, Annie lost all awareness and, well, she didn't make it. In the end, Paimon finally succeeded in taking over Peter. In the final scene, he enters a strange shrine, clearly the cult's temple, where the followers praise him like a god. Moral of the story? Stay rooted in reality. Don't get involved in strange rituals or mysterious cults. They may promise meaning or power, but they only lead to ruin. Choose the path of light, because once you cross into darkness, you might never come back.